Hi, I'm Brad Gilbert, and welcome to Sports School. Today, with the help of the Bryan twins, we're going to go over some basic techniques on the forehand. There are three basic grips to the forehand. The first is the one I play with. It's not exactly the modern grip. Is the continental grip. I like to refer to it as the handshake grip. It doesn't allow you for as much spin, hence why I have such a flat forehand. A couple guys that you may know also play with a continental forehand were Johnny McEnroe and Stefan Edberg. Bob, why don't you tell us about the semi-western forehand?
Semi-western is you shade over probably a quarter of an inch. I'm lefty, I'm going to shade to the left. Gives you more spin. This is the modern forehand. Most players on the tour use this grip. Guys, the new Americans, Roddick, Blake, Fish, all use this grip.
Pretty good forehands on those guys, huh?
Yeah, they're big.
And then you got the full Western grip, which is for the clay courters. The object of this grip is to get your knuckles under the racket, and they want to brush up the ball. So you want to try to get a lot of spin. It's the clay course.
Hence why the clay courters like the ball up, where they can come underneath and really torque the ball, huh?
Yeah.
It's unusual that you said Robbie Ginipri, an American, he plays with that grip.
Yeah, I mean, usually the Americans, they grow up on hard courts, so you see the semi-western and the continental.
You really feel like you can torque it most with that,
Yep.
huh? Not very good for the return of serve, though, huh?
No, brick.
Brick. Bob, what do you think is the best forehand grip for the best all-around forehand?
For the all-around game, I think the semi-western is the best. You know, there's guys hitting big serves today, and returns are such a big part of the game. So I think you need to have the semi-western. You know, it gives you, it's a flat ball, but you can also spin it.
Roger Federer has a pretty good forehand. What grip does he play on the forehand?
Semi-western. You know, all the new modern players, with the exception of the Spanish players who are clay courters and like the ball high over the net, use the modern grip, which is the semi-western.
And Mike, why do you think so few Americans play with the western grip, the full
Just
western?
because everyone grew up on hard court, and it's a little faster, and their object on hard court is to flatten through the ball. You want to mix it up sometimes with the spin, but the clay courters in Europe, they grew up with the full western, which is, you know, you want to try to just jump that ball up on the clay, get it.
So it's
above the
much better
shoulders.
for the high ball than it is for low ball.
Yeah.
That's the thing with my grip, with the continental. Good for the low, but up here for the high, not so good. That's why Andre and Andy both make fun of my high forehand. It's not. There's no spin. What's up, coach? No spin.
Yeah, the game is evolved past your time.
Yeah.
The continental grip's not going to cut it in today's game.
But it's a good beginning tool.
It is. It's a simple grip. You can use it for your volleys. You can use it for your forehand and backhand. You don't have to change grips. Semi-western, you have to change. You hit a forehand, and you have to shift over and switch to the backhand.
I had one grip for everything. I don't have to worry about anything. But you know what? As I'm watching you guys, I'm thinking about going over on the forehand a little bit, because you know what? You can always get better in this game. And you know what? Maybe I'll get a little spin in my old age.
That's right. You need it.
The movement to every shot is a huge factor. The better you get there, the more chances you have to do things. On a forehand, you can either get there and set up on your left leg and swing at it, or I like to do a little more open stance so I can see my opponent a little better. But both these options give you a chance to do something. But the key is when you move to the ball, you have so many more options. If you're a little lazy with your footwork, you have a lot less options, because if you get there late, maybe you can only go down the line. You can't pull the ball back cross court, or you can't really put any spin on the ball. So the early preparation, early movement to the ball is the key to a big forehand. Okay, we're going to use the Bryan twins here to hit a couple of forehands. Mike's going to hit a closed stance forehand first. Step in on this forehand. See how he's stepping in? He's looking to step in and swing through and then back up as soon as he hits it. See how he hits and then follows back through.
And his right leg is used to push off back
Yep.
into the court.
Using his right leg to anchor his way back. Because the one thing you don't want to do is hit and just stand in the no man's land. See how he's hitting and recovering. It's a nice forehand swing right there. All right, what do you like to do on the forehand, Bob?
Well, if I'm in a rally, I like to get down in the legs a little bit. You know, keep this position right here like a shortstop. And then when I run out to the ball, I'll set up like this for an open stance. If I get a short ball inside the court and I want to go to the net, I'll step in with my right leg, since I'm a left-hander, and just continue into the net.
Bob, will you show him the open stance, the hit and recover on the open stance? See how he's planning on his left leg there, really getting down, using that, and then recovering as he's hitting. This is the more economical for the movement because you're actually hitting and recovering in the same sequence. It's harder to do this, but once you get it, it's a great swing. See how he's getting down and hitting and recovering. And at the same time, he's being able to look at his opponent the whole time. This is his big shot. He loves to slap the lefty forehand inside out. Is that your money ball?
My favorite shot.
It's my favorite shot too, except I do it with the right hand. Mine's a little uglier. Mine's more, you know, I don't do it quite as much with the knee bend, but these guys do so much more of the knee bend, which is so much better for you. You get so much more power from the legs on the forehand when you get down lower. The next element to the forehand is the unit turn. It's your gauge to where you swing to. You're trying to swing to there. The more modern players, like Roddick and Agassi, they have their hand turned a little more, they're coiled a little more, so they do like this. But for the basic beginner, to keep your left hand out as far as you can from you, your racket as far back as you can, and then swing into it. Bob, why don't you show us yours with the unit turn?
I bring my racket back to the sideways just like Roddick and Andre. They bring it back like this. The Williams sisters, I think, do a good job. What the beginner should do is keep their hand in front.
And they're two great players that do the basic swing on the forehand. It shows you that you can hit it any way. Mike, let's see your unit turn. How much you must be just like your brother as well.
Yeah, I do it exactly like Bob and some of the big forehands out there. You see Moya, Roddick even. They plant with their feet open, so they have a strong base. And then if you had your hand like this, you wouldn't get enough turn in the shoulder, so they coil it like that. And a lot of their power comes from this motion right here, from their trunk.
But it shows you that even the Williams sisters, who are more old school like Chris Everett, and then you have a lot of the young guys now doing this. So it shows you can do it either way.
Yep.
This way is the more preferable, would you say, on the Pro Tour?
Probably, yeah, just a little bit more power.
But would you say for beginners it's harder to learn this way?
Yeah, the timing, to turn like this, it's hard to get all this, all these links timed together. So if you're beginning, maybe start out with the hand pointing at the ball.
I call it kind of like your rudder. Kind of keeps your balance. The next step to the forehand is the feet spread and the head still. The feet spread is a huge part to the forehand because you never want to be too wide because then you get no power, you're off balance. And you never want to be too close together because when you're too close together, I call you get like a wedgie swing, plus you have no balance. I think if you're open stance, you want to be about 2 feet apart, a little less than a yard. And then when you're going more the closed stance, I think about the same distance. You never want to be too far, just about the nice one pace, almost one stride, so you can stride into it or slide out like this way. So you never want to be too far, too wide. And the key is the head still. Miroslav Machir, if you guys ever remember him, was a Czech player. The boys used to say in the locker room, his head was so still, you could put a book on it and it wouldn't fall off when he hit a forehand. He had the most perfect balance. His head never moved. I'm not saying everybody's going to be like that, but just think about a book on your head a little bit and think about it not coming off. Never too far apart, and think about the book on your head.
I keep my feet, shoulder length apart, and I crouch down a little bit. It gives you the best balance, best movement. If I have time, I'll step my foot in a little bit more, give myself a little more power so I can go through the ball, use my body weight.
You're not as far when you're going closed stance. You're a little wider when you go open stance.
A little bit wider going open stance, yes. Because if you're pulled out wide, I use open stance on a wide ball. I want to be able to use the up the line and the cross court. If I'm closed off, I have to pull that cross court across my body. It's a tougher shot.
Very nice. And obviously you must do the same, but you know.
I mean, for me, the wide stance is the best option for me. When I look at pictures when I'm hitting my forehand bad, I'm closed up, and I lose all my balance. I mean, you got to imagine if it's a really windy day, you want to have a wide base so someone can't push you over. If you have this, you lose all your strength and your balance. So for me, the wide base, shoulder width apart, it's the best forehand.
So you guys both like for your forehand the wide stance, gives you more power, more chance to use your legs, and you want to hurt somebody.
Exactly.
How's your head movement?
It's pretty good. I like to keep it still. My dad was that was his big key. You know, keep your head still. I think in all athletics, you watch a guy on a basketball court, his head's still while he's a defender. You want to be the same on a tennis court.
Yeah, if your head's, you know, like a weeble wobble doll, it gives you problems.
It's huge for tennis because you got to watch that ball right under the strings. If you pull that head off at 1 second, that ball's hitting your frame, point over.
Let's have a look at a couple of things we've been working on with Bob's forehand. He's got an outstanding forehand. His brother Mike is going to do the feeding. Let's start out by feeding a couple of deep forehands and just looking at your forehand here, and then we'll hit all the forehand. See how he kind of plants on his back leg, open stance, and really drives into it really nicely. Very nice. Those are like spoon-fed forehands for you, huh?
Yeah, I like this.
Now let's do one right here, stepping in. Same forehand stepping in. See how he stepped in there, but more often than not, they like to hit an open stance. That's the one when you hit that, you like to come the net in on?
I'll come in on this one right here. Yeah.
Very nice. Now hit a big open stance here. See how right there? Now, so like tell the people at home why you plant on that back leg like that, so heavy.
I plant there because I can go anywhere with the ball and I can get more power. I use it to thrust me through the court and to get back in the court if it's a wide ball.
So it's almost a hit and recovery shot in itself.
Yep. I'm back in.
Beautiful. It's like it's built-in own recovery. You know, Andre does this really well, huh?
Yep.
And now you said Roger Federer is the king of it.
And he does it well too.
And he does it real well. Hence, I guess why all those guys are pretty good players, huh?
Exactly. Yeah.
Swing him out wide a little bit on a couple of forehands. Very nice. See how he shuffles over? He makes that little squeaking noise. And you know what's, why do you keep your foot pointed towards the court there on that?
It's just a gauge. You know, I'm not thinking too much about that. I'm thinking more about the open stance.
I use it kind of like the rudder to kind of keep my balance so it's forward. Because I feel like if it's going like that way towards the fence,
Yep.
my balance is going to be hitting me towards the fence. I want my balance in the court so I can drive the ball in the court. Did I do what I preached? See how right there? My foot was forward the whole time and I was aiming right there. How was that aim? I'm trying to get a two-step, kind of like a little shuffle. I'm trying to keep my feet forward in the court, sit back on my hips, and drive through the ball. And then recover. I don't do it as much on the same as them. You know, they do it in the same breath. It's like they hit and recover. I kind of hit, pause for a second, then use and move back. Because I don't hip thrust as much as they do. I'm a little older. I'm a little more old school. But it still works for me. Let's look a little bit at the long, loose finish and the quick recovery. Mike, why don't you feed him a couple more forehands? Look at that nice long swing. He has a really nice long, and then immediately upon hitting it, he darts back to the middle. Why do you get back to the middle after you hit that forehand?
Because the players are too good today. You got to move.
Would you, after you hit that forehand, is that your base to get back to like where you need to be?
Depends where I hit the ball. If I hit the ball off the line, you know, I'm going to want to. His best shot's an open court, cross court, so I'm going to get over a little bit farther.
But for the club player, would you say it's a good idea as soon as you hit to try think about getting back to the middle?
This is
Home
where
base?
this is where you want to be.
That's where you want to be.
Go to either side.
Okay, let's look at a few more. Look at that nice long swing. Freeze it here on this swing. Now, why do you finish up there?
That's the way I was taught. It's a more conventional style. It's an easier swing. You know, you see Andy Roddick today. He finishes down here a little more. It's a faster swing. It's harder to hit.
Or some of the Spanish guys finish behind their head.
Exactly. As the grips change a little bit more Western, you see guys finishing back here or down here. We have a little more cleaner game, so we like to finish right here.
I like that. You guys have a little cleaner game, huh? That's why you're the All-American guys. All right, a couple more. Very nice. I do one with a higher finish here.
The higher, like
Yeah.
back here?
Show them what it looks like a higher finish. See that, right? It goes behind your head. All right, show me an Andy Roddick finish here. Freeze it. So he finishes, it kind of almost tucks in behind his hip there.
Yep.
And then the Spanish guy's behind their neck.
Yeah, they're starting their swings from up here a little more. I think Andy starts to swing up here.
And
So he just comes down the ball hard like that.
you're more like me. We finish, you know,
More
right in the middle.
conventional.
Not too hot, not too cold. Right in the
There's
middle.
Andy's.
Very nice. The reason why Andy finishes lower, he gets more of a whip and more of a torque swing, and he gets more of an explosive swing. So he gets more spin on the ball and more power by exploding on it.
More safety, too.
More safety. But it's a much tougher swing to learn. The safe swing is what, to me, is what the Bryan twins are doing right here. Look at the feet spread, really nice. The head still. He's got the really loose swing. And the thing I like best about his swing is the hit and recover. Immediately upon hitting, he's looking to recover back to the middle. Because most of us are guilty of what I call admiration. When they hit a good shot, stop, and they stare at their shot, and they don't recover. You know, ooh, I hit a good one, but if the ball comes back, you kind of get caught on your next one like this. So it's real important. That's why he does so great at it. Hit and recover. Match point, big forehand. These basic forehand techniques will help you whether or not you're a beginner or advanced player. I'm 42 years old, and I'm still learning. I'm going to go out and try a few of these new tricks myself. I'd like to thank the Bryan twins today for coming out, and I'd like to see you next time on Sports School.